Hi, everybody. I want to talk to you today about getting around Louisville. So how do you get around Louisville? First of all, we do have an interstate system that traverses the city. So we have Highway 64, which is, an interstate. We have Highway 65, and 64, of course, goes east and west. 65 goes north and south and goes right through the middle of Louisville. And then we have some connector highways such as 264 and 265. And then we also have 71, which terminates just outside of downtown Louisville and then heads northeast towards like the Cincinnati, if you're going in that direction. So those are the main thoroughfares that can help you get around Louisville without hitting the streets. If at 5 o'clock it's a little congested, it's not hard to just jump on one of those streets and get home, and probably get home just slightly faster. As I've said in other videos, it only adds, rush hour to me adds about 15 minutes. Now that is in the absence of a wreck, which, you always have some dummy not paying attention. They're on their phone. And that infuriates me, by the way, but they're not paying attention. And then they rear end the car in front of them because everyone's doing the stop and go traffic and they're staying too close to each other. So I don't try not to go anywhere right at 5. I don't have the need anymore. I'm not in the corporate world. So when I really tried to stay, it was worth it to stay 30 minutes past and just work over. I was salary anyway, and get home almost the same time, believe it or not. And same thing in the mornings, people that would come in a little later, or when I was coming from out in the Prospect area to downtown Louisville, I would leave. If I left by 7:15, before 7:15, I would get my daughter to school in about 20 minutes. If I left at 7:20, I would get her there in about 40 minutes, and we might even be late. So that 5-minute window would that swing would change really what the outcome was. So don't, I would say your average transit time in Louisville is 30 minutes during rush hour. That's my average anyway. When I've been in it, just depends. And I apologize, still have some type of cold or something going on. So that's the traffic. We do have some traffic cams, Trimark, I think they're called, and you can monitor those. That's always fun. I do that every now and then, and I think that's kind of neat. But we do have bridges, so that's one thing that you do need to consider if you do live or work in southern Indiana, which is literally just across the bridge. We have the Ohio River that separates Indiana and Kentucky. And when I first moved here, I lived in southern Indiana. It was more bang for your buck. I was an apartment, and I could literally be at work at my desk in 10 minutes. It was quick. Just jump across Second Street Bridge. I worked at Humana, park in the parking garage, and it was there in no time. It was really fast. Now, because of the tolls, they built some bridges a few years ago. It took forever. I swear to God, it took 20 years to build these bridges. There was delays, and then there was misappropriation of funds, money was missing, things like that. So it finally got done maybe 5 years ago or so. There's an East End Bridge and then a second downtown bridge that is 65, that runs on 65. So now we have 4 bridges that in the Louisville metro area that cover. There's one that is on the west side of town that goes into New Albany. Then you have 2, well, it's 5 bridges, right? Then you have 2 that cross the Ohio River on 65. So it would be, I believe, the Lincoln Bridge and is it the Kennedy Bridge? Oh gosh, I'm messing them up maybe. But there's 2 downtown big ones. And then you have that Second Street Bridge, which does not have tolls, by the way, nor does the Sherman Minton, which is the one that connects us to New Albany, Indiana. And then there's a 5th one that is now in the East End. That was the big one everyone was waiting for, because before you used to have to go all the way to downtown to then cross the bridge and go all the way, back up into Indiana. So people that lived in the East End had to come all the way downtown anyway. Of course, that created even more traffic. So they finally got that East End Bridge done. It's a really pretty bridge. And I forget the name of it. I hate that I can't remember those names. But and that is tolled. So both those 65s in the downtown area and that East End Bridge all are tolled. And how it is payable, it's not, there's no toll booths. It's all monitored via cameras, and you get a little sticker. So what you do is you go to riverlink.com, set up an account, you register your cars, put the license plate, make, model, and all that in there. And then you put this little sticker in your car, and you have it hooked up to your credit or debit card, and it replenishes. And there's, depending on what type of account, like we have a business account, so we have to have a minimum of like $120 on there at all times. And it's weird because if you get too low and don't replenish as fast as they want you to, it'll lock your account, which means then you're paying the larger fees. So instead of getting the discounted fee as like being a prepaid or current payment type situation, you get the high fee. And then after, I think, 7 days, and there's a 30-day penalty, and then a $50 penalty. It's so it adds, so a $4 toll that you didn't pay can be up to $70 quickly. So I highly recommend, strongly suggest that you go ahead and get those toll stickers and just put them in, right above where your rearview mirror is, and you should have no problems. They do take pictures, so if you didn't, sometimes they don't catch it, and I don't think that's fair. I don't know, I need to learn how to dispute that. But if they don't catch, they'll send you a ticket. I'm thinking, well, I have the sticker on there, so I don't know. It's very weird. So getting around the city, as far as transit methods, so we do have TARC, which is the Transit Authority of River City, a pretty robust bus system. And you can get most places. They do have some connector buses that are like kind of the express type buses to certain places, because we have GE and Ford here, UPS, all in this area. And so they'll do some connector express buses to get these people. They're faster, than the regular bus that stops forever. And it's only, I think, $1.75. You can get a pass for, I want to say, $20 or $30 a month. And then that you don't have to, pay per day. So, and it's, unlimited. So, but $1.75, I think, gets you where you want, ever you want to in Louisville one way. And we have some neat thing that's happened the last couple of years now is the scooters. So they can pay, I guess, use your credit card, debit card, and then you can use this scooter to get wherever you want to go, and you just leave it wherever you get there. So once you get there, you just lay it on the ground. It's kind of weird, but I guess they have GPSs in them, and then somebody comes around at night, picks them all up. They find them, pick them up, take them back to be charged and ready for tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. There's also, the last couple of years, they've gotten the bicycles. And I know I've had that in other videos where you rent the bicycles. They're lime green, and they'll be near like the colleges. There'll be a lot of them. And so you can, rent those quickly and just hop on them and go. And there's some neat stuff downtown that's more fun, not so much like trying to get somewhere, but they have those group bicycles and even have a bar and things like that. So that's kind of neat. And that's on the waterfront. And another thing that we have is the horse carriages. So if you go by the old spaghetti factory, which is, I think, at Third and Market, Third and Jefferson, there will be horse carriages out there. And it's pretty cool. I don't really like to do it in the summertime because it's just so hot, but I do like to do it come fall, close to Christmas. Not probably too close to Christmas, but sometimes it's okay. But it's fun way to just kind of get around and hang out with your family after you go to the spaghetti factory and go through town. And we obviously we have taxis, and then now you have your Uber and Lyft. That has come on strong, just like it has in any other part of the country. And it's important for the like the big football games at Papa John Stadium. I know I see a lot of them coming to the Yum Center because parking downtown is tough sometimes. But there are plenty of parking garages. So when we had season tickets for the University of Louisville women's and men's basketball teams, we would park in the garage literally across the street from the Yum Center. You had to park probably the third or fourth floor by the time you got there, but it wasn't, I don't think it was a whole city block to walk there and, walk to your parking garage. They were well lit, a lot of security, security guards walking around and stuff. So I never felt scared or unsafe. in doing so. Hey. So if you do have a car, which Louisville, most people do. I know places like New York, some people don't have cars. Downtown Chicago, people don't, get cars. But here, most people get cars. It's just pretty normal to have a car. And so you'll need to get that registered. And if you're coming from another state, you'll have to have it inspected by the sheriff. And what they're really checking for is make sure it's not stolen. We used to have the VET, which is the vehicle emissions testing, and they got rid of that. Thank God they got rid of that. It's probably been 10 years. But what was dumb about it was that if your car was over 10 years old, then you didn't have to get the VET testing. I'm thinking, well, those are the cars that probably have the emissions that are unhealthy for the environment. But as some people say, it was just about a payday. So anyway, we won't get political in here. And so you'll have to take it down to the sheriff's department. There is a process, a little bit of a process. I've gotten some cars from my dad. I'm from Wisconsin, so I had to, get them registered here. I think you have 30 days to do so, although I don't see that the police stop you just because of your license plate. As long as it's an active, you're current on it in whatever state it is. I don't think they're hunting you down for that. So I wouldn't sweat it. Oh my God, I got to get done 30 days. I don't really think that's a big deal, but you do want to, be in them, getting going there. And so once you do have to pay a personal property tax on that car or vehicle. And that was shocking to me because we didn't have that in Wisconsin. You just paid your yearly registration fee. But I do think the registration fee was a little more there than it is here. So I guess maybe it balances out. I don't know. It seemed like it was just more here. It was kind of sticker shock. Like the first time it was $600. I'm like, what? We used to paying 40 back in Wisconsin, so it was just different. Your vehicle taxes will vehicle insurance will be probably a little more in the city. And there is an investigation right now going on about people that have to pay the insurance on their cars, and in certain areas of town, it costs more based on your zip code. So I don't know. I'm not getting into that either because I understand insurance and actuarials and how they come up with their determination of what those premiums are, but just know that it can vary based on your zip code, how much you're going to pay in vehicle insurance. And it is a law. You do not want to get caught without insurance, at least liability on your vehicle. And of course, if you owe, like you have a loan on the car, you have to have full coverage, but you do minimum have to have the liability, and you're supposed to have that in the car to show as evidence. However, they seem to be able to pull it up. All that stuff's getting more and more connected, as we go with technology. So it's not as difficult. It seems like if you do get pulled over, they can access that information pretty fast. And getting your driver's license, now that's changed recently too. So there used to be every clerk of courts building also did driver's licenses, and that has changed this year. So there's less places, they're called regional driver's license centers, and there's less of them. You do need an appointment to go in. And so that would be for driver's tests, the written or the physical test, to renew your license, those type of things. I knew I got the real ID and I set up an appointment, but I'll tell you that while it is a little more cumbersome, like you have to have the appointment, you're in and out. I was in and out super fast. And when I got my real ID, I don't think I was in there 10 minutes. As long as you have all your documentation, they're very specific, and they even give you a check sheet on the internet. You can print it off saying what items to bring. And, I just check them off because I'm OCD, and put them in a folder and take them with me. And then because of COVID is when I got my real ID during COVID, is when I got my real ID. Then they made you wait in your car, which was no big deal. I was fine with that. And they just call you up, come on porch. They checked make sure I had the items that I needed. And then they let me come in, and you had to be, temperature tested back then. So that was a couple of years ago. But the real ID saves you some, problems getting into federal buildings. And then when the changes they made are really great because now you don't have to go in to get your renewal. So my license renewed this year and I was able to do it online. I thought that was super cool because it was, I was getting towards the end where my license was really going to expire, and I had it on my radar to get it done, but just so busy. Summers are so busy for us. And so I went online and found out that you could do it. It's going to be your same picture, which I'm okay with a younger picture. And so I did both my husband's and mine, and they were in the mail within a week. We had them in the mail. So that was cool. When we voted back in 2020, I lost my license. I left it at the voter registration place. Um, I don't know. I guess I just dropped it. And I went online, I waited a few days and I didn't, I couldn't find it. And I didn't really realize where it was, but I went online and was able to order a new driver's license, and it was shipped to me in a few days. And then the person had turned it into the voter booth people, and they sent it to me. They called me and they're like, "Hey, we have your license." I gave my address, confirm my address, and then they just sent it to me. So I had two of them for a while. Um, but getting them seems to be a lot easier, even though they have made less locations. As long as you're organized, you'll be fine. So that is important. So I think I've kind of exhausted all of the ways to get around. Walking, I guess, I've talked about a few of the neighborhoods that are more walkable, like downtown area, old Louisville, some of the Highlands. Now, I don't think we talked about the walkability of the Highlands, but St. Matthews is a somewhat walkable neighborhood, and Norton Commons. Now, of course, you can't go everywhere. There's not a Kroger's nearby, in Norton Commons, but if, restaurants, it just depends. But that's again where I say that you really need to deal with someone who is interested in knowing what you like. So getting to know what your habits are, your lifestyle is. And are you a car person? Like, I'm a car person. I love my cars. I love an SUV. I've always been a car person. I like cool cars. And I used to have sports cars, and now I'm more of an SUV gal. And I like big SUVs and like being able to tow stuff. And so I like cars. So I don't think I necessarily would want to live maybe in old Louisville, for the reason of there's really there's not a lot of off-street parking, and I need a driveway for some cars. So getting a real estate agent that knows you and can learn about your lifestyle is really important for you finding that dream home. And as I continue to say, is your dream home is going to be different than my dream home. Neither one is better or worse. They're just what we're looking for at this point in our lives. And that changes and evolves, as your family either grows or contracts or changes, the dynamic. So if you need any of this has been helpful, hopefully you have hit the subscribe button and hit the like button. And please give me a comment, tell me, even if I'm doing a crappy job, let me know so I can do better. And give me a call at 502-664-9971. Again, 502-664-9971. I'm Margaret Weathers. And until next time, take care of each other. Thanks. Bye.